All right, here we go. It's go time.
It's go time.
By the way, thanks for wearing red.
Well,
Nice
yes,
work.
there's some people keep writing in thinking that we're matching, and I went and changed specifically so I wouldn't match you, and then you changed.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Now we look
good
like
fun.
a bunch of goofballs.
Yeah, it's really cute. It's cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
Thanks,
That's
Nicole. Appreciate
adorable.
it. Well, this is a very special edition of the No Doubt About It podcast. We've been talking about this for better than a month, and that is that we were eventually going to do a poll and figure out what's going on with the Republican primary for governor in the state of New Mexico. And we happen to have one of the best pollsters in the country with us. She was part of our campaign when we ran in 2022 and for the Senate race as well. She is Nicole McCleskey. She's also has the distinction of being married to the guy next to her, Jay McCleskey, who is was our campaign consultant as well. So basically ran the campaign. So these two kind of are the best two political minds, I believe, in the state of New Mexico. So that's why we wanted to bring them to you, have a poll so we could really figure out what's going on. So Nicole, you have never been on the show before. Jay regularly infects us with his personality. So thank you for showing up.
I like the shadows better.
Yeah. Well, you are good in the shadows, but you know, it's funny as Republicans when we talk about polls all the time. It's one of these things where people are like, "Oh, I don't trust the polls. I don't trust the polls," and it's one of the things I always stop people down and say, "Wait a minute." Number one, not all pollsters are created equal. And number two, they're an incredibly valuable tool in figuring out where the electorate is at a given moment or where it could be going. How did you get in the middle of this? Why is polling important?
I got in the middle of this because you asked me to.
Oh, yeah, this one. But in general.
Usually we don't do these for public consumption.
Yeah.
It's to inform campaigns and how to run them better.
Right.
So it's really kind of rare we do this kind of to share.
Yeah.
So, I've been doing this for 30 years. And in New Mexico, since 2000.
Yeah.
And we're usually always right.
Yeah.
Well, we're always right.
There have been some tough moments.
There's tough moments.
I remember when you gave us. I remember when we started the general in 2022. You did a poll. We were up 3.
Yeah.
Against Michelle. Dobbs comes out, the abortion decision, and we go down 12.
Right.
I mean, and when you came out with that, I was just like, oh, and we had to battle our way back.
Yep.
And we did to a large degree, but didn't get all the way there. But I will say, you've shown me polls at times when it's been rough.
Yeah.
And it's turned out to be true. Jay, in a campaign, critical, that good polling is critical, especially in a campaign where you're really serious about winning.
Well, absolutely. I mean, and really, everyone likes to focus on the horse race number. Where's the ballot at? In a campaign, obviously that's important, but you're also looking for a lot of stuff, whether image, you're testing messages, you're kind of trying to determine, everyone thinks people do polls and then they talk about whatever the poll says.
Yeah.
But what you're really doing is you're testing a candidate's background and a candidate's positions and then trying to figure out about that candidate what is most appealing and what moves voters the most. And so there's a lot more to it that becomes really useful for a campaign outside the horse race number.
Yeah, no doubt. And then, Nicole, how do you guys do this? Before we get into the details on those things, people say, oh my gosh, how do you, and this reminds me going back to television days and Nielsen numbers, where everybody's like, how do you know what a whole state's doing with 400 boxes or whatever? Yeah. How do you know when you interview 400 people?
It's statistics.
Yeah.
So this survey, we did 400, sampled 400 Republican primary voters, which gives you a margin of error plus or minus 4.9%.
Yep.
So if you did this 95 times, you'd get the same result within a margin of error of 4.9%. So it's just basic statistics, how it works.
There you go. Get in tight there. Yeah, there we are.
Get in tight.
Get in there.
Yes,
Get in there. Okay.
So the way we did this one, we did half of our interviews by live interviewer, live phone interviews, and the other half was by what we call text to web, where we text it and then they get a link to do it online.
Yep.
And that's just kind of a newer methodology that we're using because so many people are texting and online.
Yep.
So that's how we did this particular one.
And so in all these things, this is not a Survey Monkey poll. So just so people know, these sort of things not cheap to do, even for campaigns.
No.
It's expensive.
It's really expensive.
Yeah, and so then the reason we wanted to do it is because of the accuracy of what you get, so people know what they're dealing with. But a lot of times, if you're getting even a text poll on your phone, most of that stuff is garbage stuff that you don't do, right? So when people look at pollsters, and you work for Public Opinion Strategies, and it'll say that on all our slides, but. So that's a top end group. Are there a couple other polls that you look at and you're like, hey, when I hear from this pollster, I kind of go, pay attention to it. At least they have decent methodology.
Sure. I don't. The media polls generally aren't great.
Yeah.
My firm does NBC News.
Okay.
So that's a good one I trust because I trust my partner to do it.
Right.
A lot of media polls are kind of bogus.
Yeah.
And they use some kind of iffy methodology
Okay.
sometimes. So I'd be very wary of media polls. Not, like you said, not all pollsters are created equal and not all polls are created equal.
Okay.
So,
And the reason is just to do a poll
methodology.
correctly, the methodology is expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
'cause-
it's easier for the media to do a real cheap one.
Well, plus if you're doing a national poll, what does a national poll cost? A decent one?
well, I mean, an 800 sample, large, like long survey, 50, 60 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's a lot.
crazy. Yeah. It's expensive.
And, we don't cut corners in what we do. There's a lot of polling companies that will cut corners and, not do your quotas right in terms of your gender and your age and ethnicity and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And it's really tough to do it right. And it gets expensive to do it right. So.
Yeah. Yeah. We just found that out when I got the bill. Okay. So I think what we'll start with is issues.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we found that was interesting from this poll, Nicole, was what issues do voters feel are most important right now? And this one stood out to me as I thought this was kind of interesting that at least here, 23%, which was the highest number, was corruption in government.
Yeah.
They cared a lot about that.
Is that USAID kind of related, or you know what I mean? Like,
Well, we asked him about New Mexico. So this is in New Mexico.
Oh, in New Mexico. Okay. Okay.
So,
Sorry.
Of course, corruption's a big issue here because, Democrats are running things. So, they have concerns.
Right.
So that's why it's a top issue for Republicans. It's because Grisham's been in charge and,
Yep. They're concerned about. Okay.
Yeah.
And then obviously no surprise that crime comes in as number 2.
Sure. And that's Albuquerque.
And that's Albuquerque.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then illegal immigration and border security still at, a pretty big number at 19%, which I think is interesting because we're not hearing a lot from our Republican candidates talking about border security, which is kind of surprising to me.
It fascinates me because in 2010, Susana Martinez took that issue and owned it. And there was like everyone else, it was now everyone would run on the border, but back then no one wanted to talk about it, or they do it, but it was really light, and it really propelled her in the primary. And I think you have a lot of people, again, you got to win the primary.
Yeah.
These are Republican primary voters. And I don't know if they're scared of ICE stuff or the general, but like we always talked about, you got to beat Philly before you can go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So you got
to win your division.
You got to win the primary.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, Mark, you guys were always at the border. Every campaign you've been a part of, you're at the border talking about it. Now, given I understand that Trump has really closed that border up, so maybe people feel like it's more secure, so they're not making it a priority. But we're still a sanctuary state.
Yeah, the border's different than when you were running.
Right.
'Cause the border was open.
Yeah.
When we were talking about it. Right.
True.
Right.
Now
True.
the border is closed, but the concern now is there's lots of people in this country here illegally, and they're getting stuff.
Right. That's why I wondered if that wasn't part of the corruption thing.
Yeah, and they're getting stuff that working people aren't.
Yep.
So the failure of Republicans to talk about it in the primary is a really big missed opportunity.
Well, do you guys think in general, before we get to the next thing, and we're going to get to the horse race here in a second, do you think this race is being run? I don't understand how it's being run, quite frankly, because it's not being run as if people understand that this is a conservative electorate. To really connect with this electorate, you got to be conservative. You got to talk like a conservative. I'm not seeing that.
No, I mean, to me, it's a race of. We talked about this, I think, weeks ago. Last time I was on, the conservative lane is wide open, and no one wants to take it, and that's the winning lane.
Yeah.
Do you think they're scared to do that because of the general? Because of what will happen in the general?
You can't afford to be scared of the general, though.
And it's
like
an
you've got to
unfounded
win the
fear.
primary.
Like you don't,
right?
You have to win the primary.
Yeah.
You have to win the primary, and what are you going to come out in the general and say, I support amnesty? And
Right.
no, you're not anyway. So take the issue. And I think that's a huge mistake because you play Democrat light.
Yep.
They're going to vote for the real thing.
Real thing. Right.
I mean, and you will find that I think most New Mexicans actually agree with a conservative position on a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And to think you have to shift in a general is just a really big mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to number 2. We wanted to get an idea of popularity. Where is everybody in this race right now? Okay. And so here it is right here. We take a look here at the graphic and you can see these different numbers here. So a couple things, first of all. The first column we have here is have they heard of them? Have the Republican primary voters heard of them? Decent. All right. I mean, they don't know them well, but Hull, 74% have heard of him. 75 Turner, Duke's been on TV, 74 for him, and of course Trump 100%. Right. So we kept Trump going. This graphic jumped off the page to me only for one person, and it's actually Duke Rodriguez, because when you're 50-50 and you're barely right side up with your own primary voters, you're dead. To me.
Oh yeah, he's
dead as a doornail, right? I mean, I know that you've already but that's a rough number.
Well, explain that though, Mark. You kind of jumped in and assumed people understand what you're talking about, because you're talking about his favorability and his unfavorability basically being even at 22%.
Yeah,
both of them. That's what you're talking about. So make sure you explain that.
Yeah, well, it means that as many people like him as don't in a primary that he's running in.
Your people.
Yeah, they're your people. Like, for example, Gregg Hull's at 43% favorability, 6% unfavorability. So he's plus 37 points. Turner's plus 30 points. Trump, obviously is well-defined, but Trump's in, 8-1, support. So you should be wildly popular with your own party.
I mean, you should be at about a 4-to-1 ratio. Favorable to unfavorable in a Republican primary, and he's not.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, we're talking about Republican primary voters.
Which is different.
Not even just Republican
That's
voters.
the hardest of the hard
fact
cores.
That he's 1-to-1, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's dead. Okay, so we know that. So we know Hull and Turner are both similarly thought of. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, that's good. And we know, obviously, that Trump is very well thought of.
The thing that is important there is, like, even now, we're close to the election, less than half of primary voters actually have an opinion of them.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Like, there's half that don't even
put it back
know
up,
enough.
Ava.
Yeah.
Let's just look it back up. Yeah, so you look at him, favorability 43% for Hull, 38 for Turner.
And if you had 43 and 6, that means 49% of people have an opinion at all.
Yeah.
The other 51% don't know enough to...
And is it okay? So that's a question for you, Jay. Is it too late for anybody to jump in on this in the next couple of weeks and get you a strong opinion about?
Oh, not at all. This is I would see what Nicole thinks, but I think it's an undefined race in the sense where, like, she's talking about whole Turner, like, you have half the electorate doesn't have an opinion yet of these candidates, and the ones that have an opinion, how strong of an opinion? I think the strongest opinions are going to be Duke's negatives.
Yeah.
Well, outside of that, like, there's a lot. I mean, voters are still learning who these candidates are.
Yeah, you can win the last 2 weeks for sure.
Yeah.
With you got enough money, you got to talk to people. And
right.
They got to hear you.
Yeah. And we'll get into how you talk to them, because we pulled that too. But who's actually voting? So who are we really talking about here? And the numbers on this are this is key. And this is where I think I can't believe where the race is right now. 54% of Republican primary voters are very conservative in this poll, and 28% are somewhat conservative. That's a massive number. That's 82% it's rock rib conservatives here.
Yeah. Just going back to the point about their favorability, though, too, it's just like what will happen is those that don't know them will not vote. And, right now you're talking to your conservatives. I'm not surprised that we're at 80% conservative plus. Yeah. That's pretty typical in a primary. But
Okay, so here we go. You want to know the real number? Where are we at?
Yeah, let's just drop the hammer right now.
All right, this is where we're at in this race, and it is going to be very close, and it is close. Right now, Hull at 33%, Turner at 30%, and the Duke is at 12%, but the big number here to me, 25% undecided. Nicole, what do these numbers tell you?
It's a close race.
Yeah.
Anybody can win that. Well, not anybody. We already said Duke can't win it.
Right.
But Hull or Turner's going to win this thing.
Yeah.
And I would say this is a close race right now. I don't know that it'll be close. This could easily be a 10, 15, 20-point race.
One way or the other.
It depends on how you execute down the stretch.
Okay.
I go back. We talked about this. I think Susana, we were down 6, maybe 3.5 weeks out. And she won by 26.
Yeah. Wow.
And there was a lot of money. Because you go back to that point where you have half the electorate doesn't have an opinion. They have soft opinions. If all of a sudden they get new information, that's going to swing it one way or the other. If Hull and Turner spend evenly and effectively, and they're both the same level of effectiveness, it could be close.
Right.
If one side spends more than the other and is more strong with their messaging, it could be a big gap one way or the other.
Right. So, but is there any reason to believe? So I've seen, and we've talked about this. Turner's an IE that's jumped in support of Turner has been going negative on Hull, and we've talked about this before. This is the big boy class now. You don't get to win this thing without going after your opponent. I'm sorry, it's just how it works, right?
Right.
So Turner's going after Hull Hull doesn't appear to be going after Turner in any sort of significant way. So does that put Turner in better position to beat Hull now?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Hull does not meet that and have a real debate and point out some of the stuff with Turner, he's going to get crushed.
Yeah.
I mean, and he has stuff. I mean, what is it? A lot of those contracts that they're talking about. Turner took $600,000 from Biden to promote DEI.
Right.
Took $1 million to promote the Infrastructure Act for Biden, and $6 million from MLG to promote the COVID stuff. If voters hear that, that shifts it. Right now, they're just hearing the hits on Hull with his time as mayor, and I got a mailing about it the other day. If that's all they hear, Hull's going to get crushed. So he can feel good about himself after a 20-point loss if you decide.
We don't call it going negative. We call it voter education.
Well, no, it's true.
It is true. I remember this very vividly in Mark's race because, and we won't go into all the nitty gritty on our race, but I do remember, you know, especially when we were really green in the Senate race and things of that nature, talking about how do you stay positive and how when you are somebody that's kind of a positive guy, like Mark's a very positive guy, thought I can just run on only positive ads and not really point out what the other candidate's doing badly or isn't as strong as me, but I'm just going to talk about me and what I'm going to do. That works up to a point. But when a race is pretty close, you do have to carve a way to get away from your competitor, talking about this is where this person stands on this,
right,
and this is where I'm going to be on this. And that gets poised as a negative ad 9 times out of 10, correct?
Well, and it's a debate about issues, and voters have a right to know where candidates stand on the issues. And you remember the last primary, we said we'd be positive until attacked. And why did we say that? Because we had like a 30-point lead. but once we got attacked, you're crazy not to.
Yeah, once people do attack
will evaporate
you.
in a
Quickly.
heartbeat.
Now, here's a question for you, because in some races, like we've talked about this, the Sam Bregman and the Deb Haaland one, when Sam Bregman attacks Deb, his likability score, his favorability scores, they drop. Do you think if like Hull goes after Doug Turner, at this point, will it have any impact on his favorability?
I don't think so, because both of these, as long as you're doing it on issues, and Nicole can talk about this a lot more. It depends on how the negatives aren't going to go up because you're attacking somebody. Hull's negatives are going up because of what they're getting from Turner's group about his shortcomings and vice versa. I think what's happening with Bregman is they're figuring out he's a moderate. It's a liberal primary. He's
the voters are with her.
And he's a generally unlikable human being.
Right. Plus, he comes off as a bully.
You're talking about Epstein. You're trying to target Epstein. That's different than pointing out someone voted to raise taxes or something.
Right.
So it also depends on what issue you're contrasting.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Where do we see, like, if you were like a strategic, like, let's say that you were hired to talk about what maybe Hull could do differently right now. You got 3 weeks left in the campaign. What does his campaign do to come out and get really strong here?
Well, I mean, they have to spend I don't know how much money they have, but they have to spend it as effectively as possible. They're going to have to contrast with Turner because Turner's attacking him. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to put forward a conservative message, a positive message about him and define him, because despite what they all think is that everyone knows him, they don't really.
No.
So you got to kind of do both. You know, it's not that you just have to go negative and burn down the house, but you have to. You can't sit there and get hit. You'll see. I think the Journal had Turner or Hull up by 10 or something. Mm-hmm. You know, and now it's closing, and it's going to keep closing, and Turner's going to go right past him.
I mean, if Turner's allowed to claim the conservative lane, that's a travesty.
Yeah,
because of his lifelong record as a moderate,
right,
if not a liberal. So if Hull can't do that, complete failure.
Well, and if Hull can't do that, then you shouldn't be the nominee.
Well, no, you shouldn't. No, if you're not prepared to do what it takes, get out of the way.
You're not going to prove anything about
I agree, but to your point, Nicole, we go and look at the numbers on graphic 5. This is what's crazy, right? You go to the most conservative parts of the state, and who does the best? Doug Turner, right? And if you're here in the Albuquerque area, you've heard of Rio Rancho. You've heard that life in Rio Rancho is better than life in Albuquerque. The guy who runs Rio Rancho is running for governor, and so you support him. 48-21 in the greater Albuquerque area for Hull in this poll. Now, if you go other places, Northwest is a coin flip between the two. You go to the Southwest, and fewer voters there, but still. But then the East, 46-17 for Turner. Why? Why is Turner dominating the Southeast? Do you have a guess?
He probably has a campaign there.
He does.
I mean, you would.
He's raising money there, and that's where he's spending a lot of time.
He's got some mail. He's doing digital. I would say that Hull has functionally no campaign outside of Albuquerque.
Right.
Okay, so let me ask you that. So obviously when Mark ran, the big thing for us that was a turning point for us, I remember it very vividly in the war room, and I was begging you guys to triple check your numbers and all that. Remember all that? I'm sure you know that well.
Try to forget.
Yeah, I know we all try to forget that. But the biggest thing that I remember is the reason that we knew so early that night, which people still ask me, how did you guys know so early? And it's what Nicole said, statistics, right? That Bernalillo County has a tremendous amount of weight in a statewide race. So seeing that Hull is still like the leader in Bernalillo County and up here, does that give him the upper edge?
Well, yeah, because he's leading in the race. But Bernalillo or the Albuquerque metro area is about 44% of the primary turnout. So, yeah, you can make up a lot of ground just by winning big in Albuquerque, but you can also win by winning the surrounding areas,
right?
By those kind of margins.
And I'd say in a primary, it's less, the East. If I was working for Hull and I saw these numbers, and you had resources and the willingness to run a campaign, I'd love them because I know those numbers would evaporate. Those numbers would evaporate in a week of 1,000 points of TV,
right,
on some of those contracts. But
well, no, you run a little contrast on immigration on Turner.
Okay,
close that gap.
But here's the problem. Good, but if you don't raise the money, then you can't do it.
No. And Turner, they're running a campaign. They're not just going to let him do it. They're going to hit Hull back, and they're going to make it harder for him. So Hull can even do that, and they've kind of put themselves in a hole because Turner and the PAC supporting Turner are not just going to sit back and let him. They're going to be attacking Hull at the same point.
Okay, so let's talk about those attacks, though, for a second, because most of them have been this sort of deal, right? It's funny because everybody thinks Mail's dead, but it's not in a Republican primary, right? In a Republican primary, things like this are very effective, which is Turner's hit on Hull. Okay, and that has come through, and we also pulled that to figure out, hey, where are you getting your information from these campaigns? One more, Ava, number 6, please. And you can see right here, you're getting it. If you're finding out about Hull, it's from social media posts more than anything else. That's a problem.
It's crazy.
To me. Yeah,
I can't believe they're. For both of them, finding out most about them through social media.
Yeah.
Well, what stood out to me was it says that 12% said that they've heard of Hull from television ads, but I don't think he's done a TV ad. So.
Well, and sometimes people get confused about between what they see online versus what they see on.
Oh, that's
TV.
true.
There is some confusion there.
Okay.
Or maybe
it's always
they see
I always like in polls you'll ask where did you hear that information? The negative information about a candidate. And almost always, I read it somewhere.
Yeah.
Because they don't admit that the TV ads what persuaded them.
Right.
They're like, I was doing a lot of research and I read it.
Yeah.
Or I was on TikTok and I saw the ad.
Well, I also think a TV ad could be blurred with like a news story, or they saw the debate on KRQE or something like that, and they confuse it with
Or
TV.
they're seeing a TV ad online. Like they're running, I think they're both running streaming. I know Turner's running a lot better streaming, a lot more on digital. Than
and people get confused between streaming TV and TV
right. Still on their television set at the end of the day.
I mean, if you look at this honestly, Turner's running a campaign, and no one else really is really looking.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, come on now, Duke. I saw Duke's billboard, and I know how important billboards are.
I know
how much billboards matter.
I missed on the primary voters' important issues was saving para.
Yeah.
That I keep seeing on like Duke's billboards. But.
Yeah, he's for a guy who was the smartest guy in the room. He's running an interesting campaign. He's running a very countercultural campaign to winning. So let's talk a little bit about then where you think this is right now. Then, okay. So Nicole, where are we here? Looking at these numbers, if you're sitting in a room with, let's start with Turner. If you're sitting in a room with Turner, what are you telling him?
What am I telling him? We're doing the right thing.
Yeah, you're doing the right thing.
I just can't imagine being in that room.
But very true.
Pretend if you will. If you're in the room,
they're running a campaign.
And
it's not showing up here yet because I don't know how much negative there's been. It's not enough yet.
Yeah,
but he's right. He's in the race.
Yeah, and by the way, so Duke's the only one who's really hit Turner. And did that just not land?
I mean, once you do text messaging, though, everyone loves text messaging because they're like, oh, and they have no idea how few people you're actually reaching that it actually goes through and what impact it has.
Yeah, okay.
But it's easy to say, oh, we hit 200,000
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Voters,
You didn't
yeah.
actually hit 200,000.
The text company that's fleecing you.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're in the room with Hull, and you're saying, okay, what are you telling Gregg? Although we don't know what kind of, we got to assume they don't have any money. I don't know what else to
They
assume.
got to have enough where, what was the last one, like 250,000? It just
Yeah,
depends.
maybe, yeah.
One trap campaigns I think run into all the time is that they don't have enough money and they see Turner on TV and Turner doing this. And Turner has a PAC. So it's not just Turner money. It's not really
Right.
Turner money. The PAC's can outspend him.
Right.
The PAC's running the strong campaign out
Right.
of the two.
Right.
But they try to do everything. And let's do a little of this and a little of that. They need to pick a couple mediums
Yep.
and try to own it, whether it's direct mail, whether it's, I don't want to reveal a whole bunch, but like I'd have a couple other strategies, but you have to think, how can I effectively communicate my message to the voters that matter?
Well, let's
And
just
they
say
have to be
you're-
disciplined about it. They can't go, we're going to spend a little on this and a little on that. Because when you do that, you end up with what you have now.
And I
Right.
think we've won campaigns with being underfunded. I mean, you can do it. You have to be smarter about it, and you have to see the negative stuff,
Yeah.
and say enough.
Yeah, I'm not going to take
Enough.
this. Right.
Yeah,
right.
you can't sit there and spend a bunch of money on billboards and 4x8s when
Yep.
you don't have enough money for direct mail. Like that's
Right.
kind of the.
So if you had one area that you'd say, okay, let's dedicate some money here. Would it be direct mail if you're
If you don't have enough for broadcast for TV,
For
'Cause
TV, yeah.
Everyone look in like streaming stuff. That's really important now, and targeting and all that stuff's important. But broadcast TV still moves.
Yeah.
Like, it still moves numbers, and I don't care what anyone. Nicole, I don't care what anyone says in campaigns. You see it all the time. It's like ding, ding, you put up broadcast TV, boom, there it goes. You buy it differently now.
Yep.
There's ways you handle it differently, but it still moves numbers better than anything.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you have to have people that know what they're doing
Right.
to buy it properly.
Yeah.
And
and to cut the ad properly?
Well,
You
there's
see a
that.
lot
That's-
of garbage messaging.
yeah.
Right.
Which
But
is-
it's
yeah.
there's I think the person who has the issue that has to fix everything is Hull,
Yeah.
because Turner's doing what he needs to do. Like
Yeah.
if you look at the trajectory, you draw a line from what was the first poll that came out? Emerson?
Yeah, it was Emerson.
And that's just really bad methodology. And so like it had it whatever it was, I can't even remember. But like
Yeah.
if you look at where Sandaroff had it in the journal and you look at ours,
Yep.
he's going like this.
Yep.
And if you do this, nothing changes, and a week from now it's going to be like this. Election day, it's going to be like that.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. It could easily be a 20-point race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in Turner's favor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Okay,
right, well-
and Duke, we don't have any advice for the Duker?
Duke's dead, by the way. And by the way, this whole issue about it raises your negatives with attack ads.
Yeah.
They've all been blistering Duke, and Duke's the only one who's taking the water.
Yeah.
No one else is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So the overall environment, I want to talk about the broader environment here for a second, because you see stuff all over the country. And one thing we've said to people on this show from the very beginning is, look, anytime you have a president of your own party in a midterm, it can be really rough. We saw it with Trump in 18.
Yeah.
We would have seen it with Biden in 22 had you not seen the Dobbs decision. I think Biden would have had his clock cleaned, and the whole race would have been different in 24.
Yep.
Actually, I don't think Biden would have been the candidate from the jump, but they got what they wanted, and that's that. So I want to show you some numbers from a Siena poll, New York Times Siena poll, and it's rough. Okay, so the approval numbers for Trump are 37%.
Yep.
That's tough to win with that number, Nicole. I don't have to be a pollster to be able to tell that. 59% disapprove. And then you look at the major issues where if you go back a year, Trump is shed big numbers here. When you see those numbers, and I'll just say it for those of you guys listening and not looking, Trump 37% approval, 59 disapprove. He's got 41% approval on immigration, 56 disapprove. He's underwater by big numbers all the way down to cost of living is the one is devastating too.
Yep.
So when you look at that, what does this tell you about the environment we're in?
It's really, it's really tough.
Yeah.
Those were issues a year ago. He owned.
Yes.
People thought he would fix the economy.
Yep.
He actually closed the border, but people are like, they forget and they say, what's next?
Yep.
Because their cost of living is so high and they struggle so much. They're like, I thought the guy was going to fix it.
Yeah.
So those were issues he owned a year ago. And as if that was not bad enough, then you put in the Iran war. And that was just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, because he ran on no foreign wars. And you got even Republicans saying, I can't support that. So it's a really tough spot.
Do you think there's anything that Trump could do between now and November that will turn things around for the midterms for those that are running as Republicans?
Can he do?
I mean, do you think that? I mean, it's hard because everything I've read, it says even if he changed everything, even if he got gas prices lowered today, right? It's still hard because it's that climb that takes some time.
We typically kind of see things are baked in pretty early in the year, like January, February. It's pretty baked in, like in terms of perceptions of him and how he's done. It's really hard to move that once it takes hold, and it's just gotten worse. So I'm just not sure he can. It's a big ship you got to turn around.
Yeah, and it's tough because you look at some of these issues like the war in Iran. Me personally, I think he's absolutely 100% doing the right thing. I'm grateful for my kids that he's doing this, that you have to do that. And it raises gas prices, and that's different than what Biden did just on policy. We're just gonna that caused the price, gas prices to hike. So those things happen, and he's got to be a leader and see things through, which is what he's doing. But again, politically, you're going to take some hits. Now, midterms. This is why midterms are always tough for that incumbent party.
Yeah.
Now, I think what you have to do with this is, as you have to run your own campaign as a Republican and make it about local issues. Mm-hmm. And, like this governor's race has to be about Deb Haaland and everything, and not, she's going to make everything about Trump, just like you saw with Keller.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Keller
Turn
made
Darren White into Trump, who Darren White can't stand Trump.
Exactly. So you got to do that. And if you do that, you can be successful even in very difficult years. You look at Heather Wilson carrying
But
the
Jay,
Mexico
let's have that discussion for a second. I would argue that's not possible right now. I don't think you can cleave Trump away from a local candidate anymore. I think the world's changed. Until Trump's gone, I'm not sure you can. And again, a lot of times that can be good. And in some states like New Mexico, that's tough. Am I wrong?
Are you wrong? No. I think he's branded the Republican. It is his Republican Party until he's no longer there. Yeah. That's 100. Getting away from him should not be the objective of a Republican candidate.
Yeah.
No, you got to make it
about them.
Yeah.
You got to do this. You got to make it. Well, they might have concerns about Trump, and you're definitely going to be Trump. You don't want to run away from it because you're going to kill your base,
right?
And everything else, and that's why this whole thing we talked about in the primary, I think, is a fool's errand,
right?
To try
to get elbow room,
try to play moderate,
right?
Liberal, but you got to make the other stuff more
important. What you got to do is make the Democrats worse,
right?
I mean,
no, and that's the thing, right?
Because they are.
It's not that challenging in this state, especially when you keep. You can talk about Democrat control issues, why we're in the toilet on so many issues, and how that person's going to stand up and do better. With all that said, you guys, and the fact that Trump's even not doing as well in New Mexico as he did even when he won, we get asked all the time. Can one of these, whoever wins our Republican primary, can they beat Deb Haaland in this race in the midterm? Do you have any predictions on that? Obviously, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know. Things can change on a dime, and we've all witnessed that firsthand.
They're going to start as an underdog, very clear. Like, we have a very challenging environment.
Yeah. And and by the way, that same poll showed Trump 17 underwater.
You can win as an underdog with the right candidate. Mm-hmm. And she's so atrocious. Mm-hmm. I mean,
okay,
I agree with that. See, I think that's what changes it. If it was just a regular Democrat,
I agree.
Like, say it was Tim Keller,
you'd have no shot.
Like, you're cooked.
You're done.
But
I agree. Puncher's chance.
When people find out, like, it's pretty shocking.
But are you guys? What we talked about in our last show is there's no way, we don't think, that Deb Haaland's team is going to let her debate whoever wins this. Yes, or speak.
No, agreed. Okay, I went to that point. Ava, let's go to the last rundown from our last show. Let's pull Haaland on fracking. And the reason I want to bring this up is because I was stunned when I was listening to her response on fracking.
It's the very first clip with Jessica Grate.
Yeah, it's the first clip with Grate. Now, what's so stunning about this is how the fact that she could dance around this issue and not deal with it the way she did. What is shocking is that she doesn't seem to have an idea of how we get our oil and gas, meaning it's on federal or state land. We're not Texas. We don't drill on private land here for the most part. And just listen to what she says. And Jessica goes back and forth. And I honestly believe halfway through the line of questioning, I think Jessica's staggered. Like, I can't believe we're having this discussion.
Keep in mind, it's the former Interior Secretary.
Right. Yeah. Should know this like the back of her hand.
Right.
Okay. Just listen to this.
Ms. Haaland, you have historically been against fracking. In Congress, you supported the new Green Deal. You said, quote, you were wholeheartedly against fracking on public lands. Yes or no, is that still your stance?
Fracking on public lands? Absolutely, yes. I mean, look, we have a thriving gas and oil industry here in New Mexico, and I have no intention of, stopping people's jobs. I think we can operate in a much cleaner way. One of the things that I'm proud of doing, of course, is protecting Chaco from gas and oil drilling. And look, there are places to drill, there are places not to drill. I think we can protect our public lands at the same time we're growing our economy and ensuring that we have the energy for tomorrow.
So she presses her
That
here.
being said, we also need to move forward with our clean energy. We've made a promise to ourselves to move to zero emissions by 2050, and that would still be my plan.
Ms. Haaland, just so I'm clear, you said that, yes, you would like to ban fracking on public lands?
So our public lands, we have enough private land here in New Mexico, and
No,
that's really
we
where
don't,
a lot
actually.
of the gas
We
and
don't.
oil drilling is happening. State lands, of course, that we look at those. When I was Secretary of the Interior, we moved those gas and oil permits forward. We also were able to shrink the amount of land that those permits were
So yes or
present
no?
on. I mean, yes. I think we
Okay,
need
so
to take care of our public
Okay,
lands.
so
Throw the towel. Throw it, damn it. Throw the towel.
We've discovered that she should not handle a follow-up question.
No question.
But she shouldn't answer the first one. I mean,
Yes.
she shouldn't even.
Yeah,
Well,
Don't
the rumor is that she got those questions in advance, Nicole.
Oh, good
now,
Lord.
I don't think that she did.
No, that's not. I don't think that.
I don't think
happens.
that's true.
That's not.
But as a
so-
gubernatorial candidate, that's the kind of question you should expect and
Yes.
know.
especially
You
if
should
you're
be
her,
prepped.
like
And
that
the
is.
Interior Secretary.
And so
And the
remember,
Interior Secretary.
But this is what opens up to me, whoever the Republican nominee is. What this says to you is she wants to cut benefits for all New Mexicans. Like that's where you go with this, right? Is it not? In other words, if you're looking at this and you say, okay, well, she wants to ban fracking on public lands, that means education gets cut. That means Medicaid gets cut. That means everything gets cut. Everything gets cut, right? And so
Right.
that's what you'd hammer her with from the very beginning and just bury her on that.
Right.
I mean, I can't believe, and I think your point is right. I think given her issues, I think they hide her. I think you end up, I think she takes the Arizona governor's race from 2022 and uses that as the model, and she just disappears, basically,
Right.
just run ads.
Right. I mean, does she inspire confidence? She looks awful.
And
Yeah.
that, honestly, look at some of the hearings.
Like-
Like Bregman's running an ad now on at least social media, where he's just sending a clip from one of the congressional
hearings.
hearings.
I know. Yeah.
Those aren't one-offs.
Yeah.
Every
I know.
single
Those are rough.
hearing was like that. I mean,
Well,
it
whoever
is-
wins our Republican primary better use those same clips.
and that's
I do
the
think
thing.
But
That's what
it-
gives us the chance, I think.
Yeah.
It's pretty shocking to me that like you present this stuff to New Mexico voters. I mean, we saw it in the mayor's race. I mean, how many times? And then
But it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just
Yeah.
going to elect dumb. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm not supposed to say
Well,
that.
no,
but-
I mean,
No, but it's frustrating. It's maddening, and obviously us at this table feel it very much so.
But that's why the
With
Republican
former-
nominee. That's why I like primaries in the sense of this. Whoever's going to win the primary is going to run the better campaign down the stretch and raise the money to do that.
Yep.
And in order for us to win, you look at like Trump's number and all that. One reason that always happens in midterms to the party that's in power is because all the negative information it's basically Trump is running a positive campaign against a negative campaign because the Democrats don't have a face right now.
Yeah.
So whoever
Easier.
gets we have to make the case against Haaland like this, and it's there.
I mean, whoever they should challenge her to 2 debates a week, one in every county by the time there's an election, and she'll never do it.
No.
But
And she won't pay the price for not doing it because
She
the
won't.
media is not going to hammer her
Right.
on it.
Right, just as with Bregman.
They're not
And he's
going.
been
Yeah,
aggressive.
He's been aggressive, and there's been some talk of it. But if you're her side, you just stay disciplined and
Well, no,
put the
I-
earmuffs
completely.
on. Yeah, just like I'm out.
My vote, what I think will happen is exactly what Ben Ray did to you during your Senate race. He did debate you, but he waited until after early voting started. He came in super late and you guys did it via Zoom, if I recall. He wouldn't even be in the same room
Well,
with
it was
you.
a little bit of a COVID situation,
Right,
but yeah.
we could have been in
Yeah.
the same room with him. Come on.
wouldn't do it.
It was
No,
ridiculous.
no, we wouldn't do that.
All
But-
that to say.
But again, and Ben Ray, was the blackjack dealer that became.
No,
like,
but
you
Ben
were-
Ray can handle himself.
Exactly. My point was like the
Absolutely.
whole thing. She's dumb. She's this. It gets overused.
Yep.
And with Haaland, that is a next level. Like lacking the intellectual firepower or the capability to be governor. And that's where we throw it around too much. Oh, that candidate's
agreed.
dumb or that.
I agree
It's
with that.
overused.
Yeah,
Deb
totally.
Haaland clearly has no idea what she's doing.
I can't wait till they say it's just they're running a sexist campaign. It's a bit because she's
And
a
Absolutely.
female.
racist.
Well, you
That'll
got
be
that's
next.
coming.
No. Let me tell you something. If you ended up, if I was on a debate stage with Deb Haaland, it'd be you have to be really careful.
You'd be really mean.
Oh no, and that's the problem, right? You can't do that, right? And that's the Bregman thing, where Bregman on a stage with her comes off looking like a bully. So with her, I think you'd have to really kill her with kindness, and you'd have to really handle, because when we got ready for debates, you two would be in the room, Scott Darnell would be like, you guys, and we go over strategy. That strategy would have to be really careful to not look like you're beating up on her.
Right.
She does it to herself.
Oh,
you
I
don't
know.
have to
No, I
do
agree.
anything to her.
That's
Oh,
like, I
right.
think you got to
No.
take what she said, and there's enough clips there. And if she doesn't do those debates, you got to show voters and demonstrate to them in a way where it's like Bregman's, what he's running now is powerful from hearing. What's really powerful though is that's not like a bad day. That's not a one-off, and you have to show like this is just constant.
Yep.
So
And but to where you shame the media, like they have to ask her those questions.
Yeah. Okay, let's hit on just a couple other quick things I want to talk about. I want to do a quick soundbite because I think there's been some real interest here in the Texas race as well. Trump just endorsed Paxton, and which is an interesting choice. I think we talked about it on our last episode, and Jay, I think you agree. He's just front running this a little bit. Paxton was probably going to win anyway.
Yeah, I think when Trump didn't endorse immediately when it went to the runoff, and all that word was Trump was going to endorse, and all of a sudden he pulled back for Cornyn.
Yeah.
The race, from afar, it seemed to me like all that momentum went to Paxton.
Right.
He's probably seeing it now that Paxton's, ahead.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so let's do this. Harry Enton talked a little bit about what's going to happen in that race with effectively now it's going to be Paxton Talarico.
Yep.
So Nicole, I want you to talk a little bit about this, but let's get Harry Enton's take on this, and then we'll talk about it.
Right here, but then look towards the general election because it is a completely different world. Because you can see it right here. Okay, choice for Texas Senate. You got Talarico here at 44%, and then look at here, Ken Paxton, a Republican in Texas. The best he can do at this point is averaging 40% of the vote. I mean, I was looking at all the polling I could find. This is the best that a Democrat for Senate has been polling since like 2002. That is a very long time ago. When you have to go all the way back since I was in middle school, you know that the Democrat in this particular case is polling well in Texas.
Okay, quick thing here. First of all, I would argue that given a guy like Paxton, people are going to come home to him. Republicans will come home. So the 40% number, I think, is fool's gold for Talarico. But Talarico, and I find him uniquely repellent. I think he's the worst kind of human being that takes faith and corrupts it.
He's the most dangerous.
Absolutely. I just find that to be someone who cares a lot about their faith. So just tell me your thoughts on this race. What sticks out to you about this race?
I mean, 44% is a long way from 50.
Right.
And that's the best he can do in this environment. It's going to go back to Paxton. It will after the primary. I mean, it'll build. He'll get there. And not a glove has been laid on Talarico yet in this race.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to talk about in the record. And
Jesus
that's just
being non-binary?
yeah,
Is that part of it? Okay.
that's just.
Welcome, Matt.
Yeah, it's
Welcome, Matt.
I mean, it's kind of like generally what needs to happen in a lot of these campaigns is let's talk about the Democrats. Let's stop talking about Republicans and tell what the Democrats expose what they are.
Yeah. What would you do to him, Jay?
Right. These elections have to be choices. So Trump's taking hits on stuff because it's all about him right now, and that's why the party in power, that always happens. We got to give them a choice. These elections cannot be a referendum on us. It can't be a referendum on Iran. It's got to be a choice between these candidates. And I think the problem you're going to see for us strategically, for Republicans, is when you see numbers like that, all of a sudden we have to start spending money in Texas. And if money gets diverted over to Texas, you look at a big map, and it's we're
Leaves
in a
North
midterm,
Carolina or
so we
Georgia.
have to protect a bunch of Senate
Can you
seats.
spend in Ohio? Can you spend in those?
Yeah, you start taking, and the Democrats will call it a win if they force Republicans to spend a bunch of money in Texas.
Yeah.
Now, if they win, it'd be a huge news, obviously, but I think they'd consider it a win if they force us to spend money in Texas.
Right. Interesting. Okay. So I guess predictions going forward here. I always got to ask the prediction model here. We'll go around the table here. Nicole, looking at what you're looking at from the poll, you think who wins the Republican nomination for governor?
I have to give a prediction.
Be a nice.
It's just the way we play the game here. I know it's hard, but you gotta try. You gotta play the game with us. Doesn't mean that we know anything more than you do at home, other than polling and kind of some insight of running a campaign. But if you were to say today and how things are going, who do you think is going to win?
I think Turner.
You think Turner wins?
You think Turner wins? Okay. What
Jay?
about you, Jay?
If you look at the trajectory the way it is right now, I think Turner has the advantage. He's winning it right now where it's going to go. I believe it's up for grabs. I really do believe that. I think it could go either way, and it could be right now. It's a close race, and people are saying, "Oh, it's a close race." It would not surprise me at all if it's double digits one way or the other.
Okay. All right. You?
No, you.
Oh, really? Back to you.
Yes. No. Go ahead.
Really?
Yes.
I'm staying strong with Hull. I think Hull's got a real shot because of his likability in Bernalillo County and Sandoval County. I think there's counties with lots of voters. I mean, it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I just feel like his people know him up where there's more people that could show up to vote.
Right.
Now, do they show up to vote? That's what I kind of hope really, like this conversation today and why this conversation is important is to get people to actually show up to vote because, we've talked about it. Primary voters, they don't show up as much as they would for, say, a presidential election, right?
In a midterm, yeah.
In a midterm. So show up to vote. If you really care and are passionate about who you want to win that primary ticket, you got to show up to vote. So
yeah, and it used to be not our issue used to be we show up and it no matter what, and that's not this party anymore.
No.
It's totally changed.
Okay, so you?
Oh, Turner's going to win. It's
you think
you don't stop. I mean, if I felt like there was money coming in on Hull's side, I think he absolutely could hold it off. But there's no, and this is one. I just got one problem with this. And this is one thing we said on the last show. I'll say it again. The first question you should ask yourself if you're thinking about running for a big time office is ask yourself if you can raise the money. Because don't ask yourself if your ideas are good or if people like you or you're the most popular guy here or there or whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters is can you raise the money? Because if you can't raise the money, you can't communicate with anyone. It's like you're screaming in the woods about your ideas or you're yelling at the clouds. It doesn't matter. And so that's my problem with Hull.
You can't win a grassroots campaign.
No, it doesn't exist
when
anymore.
When someone says that, it's usually because they don't have any money. That's code for that.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: if you gave Turner $2 million and Hull $2 million, and they spend it equally as effectively, Hull wins that.
Oh, I agree with you.
Hull wins that.
I totally agree with you.
He's got to, but he can do it.
But some of this is about people you hire too, and it's part of what helped us in 2022 and 2020. We hired the best people to help us, and that happened to be you. Chuckles, but it was true. It was true. I can't tell you how many people I sat down with, like, well, why do you hire this person or that person? Because they're the best. And if you run your business where you hire the best people, then you do better. If you go and act like this is some popularity contest from high school and you don't want to offend, Janice the cheerleader, then you're not going to win. I'm sorry. If you're not going to go, if you can't sit down in a room and win over each time a donor that's going to give you good money or win over the small dollar person in Farmington, you've got to do that. That's part of the job.
And here's the other thing they talk about how to run a campaign. You have to have enough respect for the voters to be able to debate and say, you know what, voters deserve to know this.
Yep.
And they deserve to, and they don't get offended by it.
Right.
Unless it's a personal attack. There's a
Right.
big gap between.
Yeah, going after somebody personally and going after an issue.
Plus, the number one goal has to be to win. It can't be to be like, hey, if this other guy wins, maybe I'll still be friends with him.
Right.
And maybe we could. I would have been,
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we ripped Dow's legs off. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? And I still would have hired her to
But
do
they
something
started
with
it.
it.
Oh, 100%.
I would have done it in a heartbeat
They
because I
did
had
start
more
it.
respect for her for
Just
what
so
she
you you know, though, they started it. I do remember that very
Well, of
vividly.
course they started it.
And she did it. She attacked because she had to.
Because she
we were
had to.
ahead.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
like, oh my God, I can't believe she
no.
like, of
No,
course she
it's-
did.
and she should have, and I get it. Now, I wouldn't have gone as far as she did. She could have saved herself some trouble, but either way.
Not when we had that aircraft carrier off.
Well, but I remember those decisions. As we came up to it down the stretch, we had a lead and a significant one, but we also knew, and I had this discussion directly with you. What do we do? Do we continue to push or do we pull off? And you're like, you got to run through the tape.
Yeah, absolutely. You bury them.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the game. And that's what this is. So those of you guys who watch this, that's why we want to give you this information, is just to bring the smartest people we can to you, to tell you exactly what's going on behind the scenes. So now you know how this goes. Now it's up to you guys to go out and vote and do what you want to do.
Yeah, and vote. And also, I would just say, money matters. And so if you have passion about one of these candidates, I'd cut them a check very quickly, because I think somebody's going to need it to get it across the finish line. And whoever does get across the finish line, we need to rally and support that person to beat Deb Haaland, because that's really who it's going to be. We all know that, right? Are we all in agreement on that one? Yeah? Okay, I'm just making sure. Didn't know if I need any other bets on the table on that one. Well, thanks you guys so much for joining us. I do want to just go ahead and tease this. I don't even know if Jay knows this or not. Jay, I'm going to be out of town on election night, and you have been recommended to come and fill my spot with Mr. Chuckles over here. So I hope that
Chuckles are living up, but we're ready to go.
So hopefully you can carry the weight
we will do that.
of the table.
June 2nd.
Yeah, June 2nd.
Then we'll do a show at the night of June 2nd once we get the results.
That'll be
So
interesting.
you
Yeah.
can't go on vacation on that night, okay?
Nope.
Just so
Yep.
you know.
All right,
right.
I'll be there.
Well, thanks you guys for joining us. Please subscribe. It's very important for us. If you want to sign up for our emails, you know where to go. No doubt about it. Podcast.com. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thanks,
God bless.
Nicole, for actually showing up.
Yeah, thanks,
Coming out of
Nicole.
the shadows.
Celebrity brought her out. Does this mean that you'll come back?
No, I'm
now,
going back
Nicole?
in the shadows.
Well, thanks you guys for joining us. Take care, you guys. God bless.
See ya.
You've been listening to the No Doubt About It podcast. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at No Doubt About It Podcast.
No doubt about it.
The No Doubt About It podcast is a Choose Adventure Media production. See you next time on No Doubt About It.
There is no doubt about it.